Hello everyone, welcome back to the Zekko football channel. You are watching the recap, the show where we go through the major talking points from the most recent round of Premier League fixtures. And boy, do we have a show for you today. We have VAR controversy to be talking about. We have upsets galore. So go and grab yourself a drink, grab yourself a snack, sit yourself down, and let's unpack the weekend's football. Before we do, if you are new to the channel, please make sure that you subscribe, you like the video, and you turn on those notifications. It really helps me out. Right, without further ado, let's recap. There is only one place to start, and that is, of course, Tottenham Hotspur against Liverpool. Oh, hold on. Wait. Just let me... Okay. There is only one place to start, and that's Tottenham Hotspur against Liverpool. Tottenham win the game by 2-1, and I thought the game was very, very close for the first 30 minutes. And really, I am completely serious. I thought it was a cracking game up until the 30-minute mark. Curtis Jones gets sent off, which is absolutely a red card, by the way. I don't know why we're now starting to talk about intent. Intent hasn't been a thing for about 5 years. It is a dangerous challenge that, with any more force, could broken someone's leg. I understand the pundits don't like it. I get ex-players, but it's a dangerous challenge. It hits him higher above the ankle. Any more force, and it has a possibility of snapping his leg. I'm sorry, it's a red card. Now, if you want to have a discussion about the actual VAR call, now we can talk about that, because that's where this statement here comes, and it will be staying here for the remainder of this segment, because Liverpool were robbed. Good grace, Liverpool were robbed. I mean, VAR. We need to have a talk. Do we need to have a talk? VAR. It's a thing, isn't it? No. What were you doing? So the PGMOL came out and said that VAR failed to intervene in terms of a offside call. What actually ended up happening was that the offside was given by the linesman. The VAR did not know this. The referee did not communicate it, and the VAR ended up checking the goal for being onside. They came back and said check complete, indicating to the referee that there was nothing to change. But the on-field decision was offside, so the goal was ruled out. Now my question here is, what was the VAR doing? Do they not watch the game? Are they twiddling their thumbs? Are they playing a game? EAFC is out. Are they playing that by the side and then just, oh, gotta get to work. Oh, VAR, yep, we're here. What's going on? I don't understand. It's baffling. And to be quite frank, these decisions are happening time after time again. I like VAR, I like the technology, I like the addition of it, and I do eventually think it will help this game. But why is England, why is the Premier League the only league that cannot implement this properly? Champions League, it works fine. World Cup, it works fine. France, fine. Spain, fine, to an extent. Germany, fine. Why is England the only place and the only league in the Premier League that doesn't get it to work? I'll tell you why. It's the officials. The officials are not good enough. They do not understand clearly the methodology, the thing that it takes, the pressure apparently that they are continuously under. Jurgen Klopp came out and said he doesn't understand why they're under so much pressure. I don't understand why they're under so much pressure. Just take your time and make the right decision. People won't mind. But it's time after time again that we're getting these wrong calls. There was another one in the Brentford game. How is that not a penalty? That's a different situation. I'm losing my head a little bit here because it's continuously robbing us of fantastic football. And that's the real crux for me. That's the real issue. I mean, not to mention the fact that Liverpool have had arguably 1 point taken away from them, but they could have won the game. And I'm not in the camp, by the way, of replay the match. I'm not at all. The rematch should not be replayed. It really shouldn't. Because Tottenham didn't do anything wrong. It's not Tottenham's fault. They didn't change anything. They didn't alter the VAR decision. It's not Tottenham's fault. The game should not be replayed. But honestly, I feel for Liverpool. And they came out with a statement that said that they're going to explore all their options. What does that mean? What? It's all kicking off, guys. It's all kicking off. Right. Let's actually talk about the game for a moment, because There are some really interesting things here. And if we have a look at the average positions, I liked how Pape Matar dropped into a more central defensive midfield role. This was to try and stop the Luis Diaz push through the left-hand side. And they actually did nullify Diaz to a certain extent. Then we have a look at this massive bit of space. And Mo Salah, like we were saying in our tactical match preview, that he was going to exploit the space that Udogie was going to leave behind him, leaving a lot of 1v1s between him and Van de Ven. And there were some really good duels there. On a different day, I think Mo Salah really does get the better of Van de Ven in certain scenarios, and then Liverpool obviously create a few more chances. But the game was killed off with the red card, with the VAR decision, and I thought Liverpool did a fantastic job of defending up until that point. I feel really bad for them with the Diogo Jota first yellow card, because he doesn't touch him, I don't think. Second yellow is definitely a yellow, so that's unfortunate. But once they go down to 9 men, you're hoping that Liverpool can really hold on if you're a Liverpool fan and get that draw, but they failed to do so, and it's just a calamity of errors and things going against Liverpool at the moment. 96th minute own goal by Joel Matip. It's really unfortunate, but I think Liverpool could take a lot of heart from the way that they played. I thought Szoboszlai was absolutely fantastic at times. His pass over to Luis Diaz on the run at the time was brilliant. Mo Salah did a decent job of picking up good pockets of space. Luis Diaz, as I said, was marked out of the game to a certain extent because of the ability of Pape Matar, and overall it was a cracking game for about 30 minutes. Apart from that, the game was ruined by VAR calls, red cards, and the like. It should have been a great game, but unfortunately wasn't, and Liverpool have been absolutely robbed. It'll be interesting to see what goes on from now, but VAR needs to take a lot of hit here, because it's just nowhere near good enough. Nowhere near good enough. VAR is an absolute joke. Speaking of jokes, let's talk about this clown of a club. Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 1. I thought Crystal Palace were worthy winners in the end, and Man United just didn't have enough firepower, nor did they have the technical ability to be able to create out too many clear-cut opportunities to make sure that they got anything out of this Palace game. As you can see, the attacking momentum was way in Man United's favour, and that's because of the goal that came. And around about the 25th minute, Crystal Palace was then able to sit back, stay defensive, stay resolute, and maintain their goal. But really, Man United didn't threaten all that much, and if there are any positives to take, I actually think it's the role of Sofian Amrabat coming into midfield from left back. I thought he was able to isolate different scenarios, he was able to stop counter-attacks, and generally I thought he was one of the best players out on the pitch. If we have a look at his heat map, we can see that he was drifting through into this midfield area more often than not. Yes, he came down the left-hand side, but his work rate, his effort, and his ability to stop counter-attacks was very, very good. Again, like I said, by far the best player on the pitch. Marcus Rashford was completely absent. Pellistri was really nullified by Tyreek Mitchell. And then you have a look at Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount, who in my opinion did not do enough to try and spread the wide play of Crystal Palace and make sure they were able to pick up pockets. Casemiro ends up becoming more of a central attacking midfielder than he does a CDM, and it means that that metronome, that dictation of play is no longer there. I'm sure that's because Amrabat decides to be there, but Man United just didn't take their time in making sure that they're able to carve out opportunities. Marcus Rashford's decision-making was questionable. I thought Højlund did a decent job of trying to get a shot on target, but overall there just wasn't enough creation, and that's quite baffling when you think that you've got Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, Casemiro at times in the side. Just nowhere near good enough. But Crystal Palace need to be given their flowers, because I thought they were absolutely sensational in this match. Defensively, they were brilliant. Anderson, I thought, did a really good job, as did Guehi. But Mitchell, for me, was the standout. With the overlapping runs and actually the underlapping runs as well from Diogo Dalot, I thought he dealt with the problem of Manchester United's right-hand side, Crystal Palace's left-hand side, perfectly well. Palace are a really well-organised side, and Roy Hodgson has really got them working to a T. Eze had a bit of a quiet game, but overall his quality really did shine through in proper scenarios. And I thought Palace deserved the win. They were a fantastic side, and Manchester United are continuously showing that they are a shambles of a football club. And now let's discuss arguably the craziest result of the weekend. That's Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Manchester City 1. Wolves are an absolute bogey team for Man City. There's something about these two sides playing that City just can't get over Wolves. I know they beat them last season, I know it was a thing, but Wolves have in the past have had a pretty good record against Man City. And when you have a look at the attacking momentum bar, I mean, it's all City, isn't it, apart from a couple of instances for Wolves. But I thought Wolves hung in there. I thought they defended valiantly. I thought Dawson was absolutely amazing. There's an image where he makes a sliding tackle to stop Haaland from getting a tap in. He was brilliant. I thought Pedro Neto was absolutely sensational as well. His drive down the right-hand side to start off for Wolves' first goal was brilliant. And then you've got Hwang Hee-chan keeping himself in attacking positions to get that goal. But I think that Matheus Cunha laying it off for him and being unselfish, even though he has not scored a lot at all in his recent time at Wolves, I thought to lay it off for Hwang Hee-chan because he has a better scoring opportunity just highlights and resonates the team ethic and the team spirit within this Wolverhampton Wanderers squad, and I think Gary O'Neill is doing a pretty sensational job. But for a moment, let's talk about Manchester City, because this comes in correlation with the fact that Rodri was missing. He had that red card, obviously, and it meant that a midfield double pivot of Mateus Nunes and Kovacic came into the side. Now, Calvin Phillips would have been a player that you would have looked at to try and get some minutes, but obviously they decided against that. Pep Guardiola opting for a more attacking approach, and clearly that hasn't really worked out. Nathan Ake out on this left-hand side was skinned by Pedro Neto for that first goal. And really, I didn't think that Man City had enough defensive capabilities or enough counter-attacking stopping capabilities in their side to be able to deal with the pace and presence of Wolves. And then there's the calmer element of it, really. When you have Mateus Nunes, who was absolutely horrendous to Wolves to try and get out, failing to play, refusing to train, refusing to go into team meetings and play for the club, and then this happens. I think there's something quite poetic about that. And yeah, I'm a football romantic at heart, and I do quite like that. There's something really poetic about a player sticking it to a club and then the club biting back. I like that. Yeah, really good. But overall, I thought Wolves defended brilliantly. You can see Pedro Neto out on this right-hand side, and that's because he was highlighting the space in behind against Nathan Ake. I mentioned earlier that he absolutely skinned Ake, and he did a brilliant job. But Aït-Nouri also did a fantastic job of keeping the width for this Wolverhampton Wanderers side. And if we contrast this to this Man City side, you can see how far ahead Ake goes. Pedro Neto exploiting that space, and Kyle Walker on the other side. Kyle Walker less so because of his pace and his recovery ability. Ruben Diaz obviously having that own goal, unfortunate, but it was crafted by the guile and determination from Pedro Neto. I thought Wolves did a fantastic job, and if we just have a look at some of the stats, they are quite amusing. I mean, Wolves fans should be absolutely elated with this, because look at all of the possession, look at all of the stats, and in the end, Man City didn't get the points. It's very, very unfortunate. City fans, if you're watching this, please let me know what went wrong for you. Were you just not clinical? Did you not just take your chances? What do you think should have changed? From my point of view, I thought Wolves deserved the win. They defended valiantly. They clearly struggled in certain scenarios, and I don't think they've got the rub of the green with certain refereeing decisions. So it's nice to see something go their way. The game ended Wolves 2, Man City 1. And there's life in the old Wolf yet. And now to finish up, let's have a look at some of the other results and then take a look at the Premier League table. First up, we have Aston Villa 6, Brighton 1. Now, this isn't too much of an issue because it's Brighton, but I'd just like to mention that a lot of people are talking about De Zerbi being the next huge coach, and he might be. But Brighton aren't getting anywhere near the pressure that another club would get, and I'd be interested to know how well De Zerbi handles that kind of pressure when it really gets put on him, because you cannot get results like this. Brighton defended horrendously. I thought Villa were absolutely superb. Definitely Ollie Watkins was a standout performer, but also Moussa Diaby has really transformed this Aston Villa attacking line. Everyone getting in on the goals, but I thought Diaby and Watkins really were the two main standouts for me. Defensively, Brighton were all over the place, and the attacking momentum bar doesn't really showcase how much Villa dominated Brighton in certain scenarios. While Brighton had a higher XG, I did think that Villa's attacking potential was a lot greater. 9 shots on target, 19 total shots, just demolishing Brighton even though they had more possession. It was a brilliant performance from Aston Villa, and one that really showcases their intent going forwards. Everton losing to Luton. Luton have gotten their first victory in the Premier League. It's a historical moment. It comes against Everton after they beat Brentford. It's baffling, really, isn't it? Lineups, I thought the Dominic Calvert-Lewin did okay, but not really too great. Carlton Morris getting his goal, and really, I thought that Luton thoroughly deserved this. They were the better side in certain scenarios. They took their chances, and that's really what counts. Everton not getting a rub of the green in terms of being in front of goal at Goodison Park, but I don't think Luton will care about that. They took their chances, and that's the main thing. West Ham beating Sheffield United by 2-0. It was really all West Ham. Sheffield United are struggling yet again to try and maintain any kind of form. I thought they were unlucky in certain scenarios, but then again, at the same time, when you have the likes of Jared Bowen and Thomas Souček pitching in with goals, I thought Antonio did a good job of dealing with that back three. And then you've got James Ward-Prowse linking everything together, Edson Alvarez being another linchpin in that midfield as well. It's only going to go one way. Newcastle 2, Burnley 0. Newcastle getting back to winning ways. Almiron's goal is an absolute peach. Finish watching this and then go check that out, because it really is something to behold. And then Alexander Isak getting on the score sheet. Again, Burnley, I'm really concerned about Burnley. And I do mean really concerned about. They had 2 shots on target. They only had 8 shots in the entire game. And expected goals of 0.65, assists of 0.58. It's not looking good. Yes, you might not be expecting to do well against Newcastle, but I'm struggling to see where the points are coming from Burnley. Arsenal returned to winning ways with a 4-0 win over Bournemouth. They dominated this match. I thought they were rather fortuitous in certain scenarios. The 2 penalties were ridiculous from a Bournemouth point of view, and they are really going to need to look at themselves, because they still do not have a win, and getting thrashed like this is never going to help. And then finally, we have Nottingham Forest and Brentford. I mentioned the VAR controversy in this match a little bit earlier, but Brentford really are struggling to find a vein of form here. Nottingham Forest doing a good job by coming back into it, but I thought Brentford probably should have had a penalty. Matt Turner tries to clear the ball and Vita steals the ball away and tries to shoot for goal, but in that time Turner tries to kick the ball and ends up kicking Vita, and it doesn't get given, which is very, very strange to me. I don't know why that didn't get given. But hey, VAR, I mean, I've talked enough about refereeing decisions. That didn't make sense to me either. Let's finally have a look at the Premier League table before we round things up. And we have a change in the bottom 3. Luton are out. Luton fans, how are you feeling? Please let me know. Sheffield United and Burnley are still yet to record wins, as are Bournemouth. Moving up the table, Wolves have climbed above Chelsea and are now starting to really gain some momentum after that huge 2-1 victory over Manchester City. Forwarding a little bit, and we have Manchester United in 10th. They now have more losses than they do wins. And I have a very simple question for all of you. Get in the comments and let me know with a yes or a no, Y or an N. Let me know, should Erik ten Hag be sacked? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. Newcastle United are in 8th, climbing back up. Brighton, after their loss, dropped down to 6th. Aston Villa are now in 5th, climbing towards those European places. And look at the goal difference now. 16-7 for Liverpool, 18-11 for Aston Villa, 19-14 for Brighton. All of the teams starting to climb up the table. Arsenal and Tottenham are the only 2 teams who have not recorded a loss yet in the Premier League. Arsenal could still go invincible, can they? Tottenham are possibly in a title race. Do you believe that they have the credentials to go all the way? And of course, Manchester City are no longer unbeaten after their loss against Wolves. This is your Premier League table. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on the most recent round of Premier League fixtures and what your main takeaway from this weekend is. One singular thing, let me know what it is. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, take care.